Hey, Naomi.
Yes.
Welcome. There's Howard. We're going to let a few more people join and then we'll get started. Thank you guys for joining. Hey, Jimmy. So guys, I don't know if you can hear me, but so far it doesn't look like we have that many newcomers. I think we just have JC maybe is joining for the first time. So this today's presentation is pretty much the same thing that we went through in December. So maybe we can keep this a bit informal, and as you guys have new questions or suggestions, feel free to jump in. And maybe more people will join as we kick off. How does that sound? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mark.
Okay, great. Happy New Year, Jimmy.
Yes.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, Naomi, Howard. Good to see you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hi, Sherry.
Great. Maybe for JC's benefit, I'll introduce myself. So my name's Mark Antonison. I'm working here at Academia Sinica as an energy analyst and helping to coordinate projects with Stanford. And just as background, Academia Sinica is sort of the National Research Institute of Taiwan. So it's the government's dedicated research arm. And we're working on clean energy technology in particular in our team. So just a bit of, and guys, feel free to jump in if this is already understood, or if you guys have new ideas, feel free to jump in at any time. But basically, let me go full screen here. The idea behind this competition is to help us bridge the gap between the research lab and the real world. And we're looking to partner with Stanford students to create innovative business solutions that that will help bridge that gap and basically, turn technology into actual reality. And thank you, Sherry. Sherry just put my contact email in the chat just for future contact if people want to get more info about this program. And our hope is that these startups will help build out Taiwan's energy ecosystem. So in isolation, these technologies can't really do much unless there's a whole sort of ecosystem of related businesses and capabilities built around them. So that's what we're really aiming to do. And just like the semiconductor industry in Taiwan has a massive ecosystem, we're looking to do that for these clean energy technologies that we're developing. All right. So the way this competition has been structured is that there will be at least 6 awards. The top 3 teams will be invited to come to Taiwan and get monetary awards of 3 to 10K. And then the next 3 teams will get 1,000K for their efforts. And then the teams will come to Taiwan for a week and work with us on fleshing out their business plans. The opportunity is to work with new technologies in a very different part of the world. Taiwan has very unique economic and geographic challenges. We don't have a lot of open space to build massive solar. So we're looking at alternative types of energy that we can develop. You can gain experience working in a high-tech Asian economy and work alongside Taiwan's top researchers and potentially become an entrepreneur and start up a business. So this is very much applied science focused. This isn't like working in the lab. This is about getting out into the field and building a business. So these are the technologies that we are researching, and we will provide a lot more info about these in the coming days and weeks. Methane pyrolysis, which is basically breaking down natural gas into carbon, solid carbon and hydrogen, and then using the hydrogen to create electricity, and using the carbon for industrial uses. Geothermal, which is basically drilling holes deep in the ground and finding hot water or steam and using that to generate electricity. This is something that Stanford has been a pioneer in the States. So we're very excited about that. Marine current energy is harnessing the very strong ocean current on the east coast of Taiwan, which runs about 2 meters per second. So we're developing ocean turbines that will float underwater to generate electricity. High efficiency solar cells using a combination of silicon and perovskite, which doubles the bandwidth for solar cells. Biomass carbon sinks using fast growing grasses in Taiwan to create a negative carbon footprint. Blue carbon, which is basically ocean-based strategies for capturing carbon. And then finally, solid oxide fuel cells, which is a technology that is very familiar to people in Silicon Valley as well. So the deliverables are that each team will create a business plan and then a business pitch video and submit that in February, and then we'll evaluate those and invite the top teams to come to Taiwan. All right, let me move forward here. I'm just going to check my screen to see if there's any questions. Nope. Let me go back. All right. So in the next couple of weeks, we're inviting people to form a team. It's open to all Stanford and undergraduate and graduate students. If teams can mix capabilities, that's probably going to help cover all the angles. And if possible, we welcome people to have an academic advisor work with them. And then the number of teams is not limited. The number of team members is not limited, but the travel team would be limited to 4. So it'd be 4 tickets per winning team. And then on the right are the key dates for the competition. So this all happens within the next 3 months. Okay. The judging criteria is basically looking at the commercial feasibility, the technical feasibility, and the scalability of the proposed business plan and how relevant they are to Taiwan's energy needs. And then we're also looking to see, how interested the team actually is in Taiwan itself, like the unique challenges that Taiwan faces from an energy perspective. So not really just a cut and paste of a business plan from some other country, but really how much thought went into making this work in a place like Taiwan. And then on the right are just some of the rules for the competition. So it should all be the team's own work. Academia Sinica will reserve the IP rights, but all moral rights will be kept with the participants. And there's just sort of your standard confidentiality obligations. And then this was a question that came up in our call last December, the sort of what happens after the competition in terms of startup funding opportunities. So on the left, we start with the competition happens, and then the students come to Taiwan. But then there is a glide path for future funding for successful business plans. So there's angel and seed round funding available, and you can apply for startup funding from Taiwan's National Science and Technology Council or from the Ministry of Economic Affairs. And they have key milestones to award that funding. And then from that round, from the angel and seed round, there is also funding available in Taiwan and also potentially, from the States as well for A to E round. So, responding to your guys' suggestion last time, we've mapped out a path for like turning this from an idea into an actual business plan, or an actual business. And this is something Taiwan does very well. Okay, and then we plan to have
Mark.
Yeah, go ahead,
Mark,
Sherry.
Sorry. I think Jesse just mentioned Tiffany Zhang is in the waiting room.
Oh, hang on, let me add her. I'm having a hard time seeing both my presentation and the people who are in the waiting room, but welcome, Tiffany. Let me just make sure there's nobody else out there. And thanks, JC, for catching that. All right, let me go back. So we will have these office hour type sessions every Thursday at this time, so 5 p.m. Stanford time for the next 5 weeks after this. And next week, we will introduce all the technologies in a bit more detail. And depending on where people's interests lie, we can also arrange for one-on-one calls with our researchers who specialize in these technologies. So we didn't want to get 12 different researchers just lined up for conference calls that maybe nobody's going to attend. But if people are interested, let's say in the marine technology or the blue carbon, we will arrange a convenient time to have a one-on-one call so you can learn more about what they're doing and then figure out what is the business opportunity between their research and bringing it to fruition. And then also going forward, if anybody has any questions, you're welcome to contact me directly. Sherry put my email in the chat. We'll also make it available on our website and on our presentations going forward. But people are also just welcome to use me as a central contact to learn anything and everything about how this competition is going to work and about the technologies that we're developing. And then we're also building out all this information. So we have an event website, we have an application and registration website, and then in February we have a website to submit your application. If you register early, that will just allow us to loop you in on any communications proactively. But the registration period is sort of open. So as you pull your teams together, just register when you're ready. And that's basically the news. At this point, I'm happy to stop sharing and just open it up for questions and go back over anything that wasn't clear. And I know Tiffany joined late, so if she has questions, we can talk to her as well. How is it going in terms of getting the word out in Stanford? Are you guys able to get the word out to other students?
Yeah, the quarter just started, so this is like,
okay.
Yeah, so this can be this week, and then next week, hopefully people settle down in classes, then they will have more brain space to, think about extracurricular like this.
Yeah. Are you guys doing, like when I went to Cornell, they do a lot of intensive course shopping in the first 3 weeks. Is that how you guys operate too?
Yeah, same. So that's what mostly happening this week is people figuring out their classes.
Okay, great. Go ahead, Naomi.
I was just going to say that I'm super excited because there's actually like a lot of interest from what I'm seeing. Like
Oh yeah?
I had so many of my friends being like, "Hey, do you want to do a team together?" Da, da, da. And I was like, "Lucky, like we have too big of a team now." So I
Too
think
big
I'll
of a
make
team.
them do. I think I'll make them do a team as well. So
Okay.
we'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of interest.
Okay, great. That's great to hear. Yeah, if you have 8 people, then obviously try to break into 2 teams, and try to manage it that way. What are you seeing, Howard? Are you seeing some engagement on your side?
Yeah. So it's also a few of my friends reach out and they're interested in doing it. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're really getting our website up to speed. Probably this week we will be adding a lot of resources, and then next Thursday we will have a deep dive on the technologies. So hopefully, as your friends settle into their new semester, and we get all of our resources available, people will start to zero in on some ideas, and teams will come together. And then I'm basically going to be available through March to help serve as a resource for everybody to do as good a job as possible. And we had a meeting with our president of Academia Sinica yesterday. He's extremely interested in this as well. I mean, this is really the traditional gap between the academic world or scientific world and the economy, is that it's very hard to take ideas out of the lab and make them real. And so this is a big effort to bridge that, and Stanford has that sort of entrepreneurial culture. So everybody's very excited about this on our side as well. Jimmy, anything to add from your side? Any ideas? I think you're on mute, Jimmy.
Yeah, so thank you, Mark. Thank you for putting that together. And it's very exciting to see the very first student competition from Academia Sinica at Stanford. I'm expecting will probably not be the last. I'm expecting that the success of this will garner more follow-up to this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I forwarded this to a number of our entrepreneurial societies that I'm aware of at Stanford and asked them to pass it on to their network. I guess the thing I would add is that it's a very unique opportunity to work with a new area in many ways, a green field of entrepreneurial opportunity facilitated by Academia Sinica. And so for students who are interested in sustainability and in a part of the world where that's not an allergic word, this is a fantastic way to really, so I couldn't help put that in there.
Yeah.
In any case, I think it's a very unique opportunity, both if you're interested in sustainability, and interested in making an impact, and interested in entrepreneurship. Really, it's a really sort of a perfect storm of these opportunities. And so I'm very excited to see this get off the ground and get as many participants and teams from Stanford that are interested in those areas. I mean, look, it's a perfect storm of that. You have, if you're interested in sustainability, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, and you're interested in making a real life impact in a very in a part of the world where it's embracing this. So those are my 2 cents, Mark.
No, thanks so much, Jimmy. And yeah, I mean, I was just back in the States for 3 weeks, and then coming back to Taiwan, I was like, okay, now I can work on climate change again. So,
yeah, 2026 is off to a roaring start.
Yeah. But Taiwan wisely sees climate change as a top priority for the government, so they're throwing sort of a whole of government approach at it, along with other challenges like health and social welfare. So it's a great place to work on stuff like this, and it is a very entrepreneurial, business-driven economy, right? And the ties between Silicon Valley and Taiwan couldn't be stronger. Like, all the innovations that came out of Silicon Valley were basically built by Taiwanese manufacturers, like iPhones and computer chips. So there's already a very strong foundation. Did anybody else have questions or suggestions for us? I know we have a couple other new folks that joined this week. Go ahead, JC.
Hi, thank you so much for presenting. Very excited about this opportunity. I just wanted to know, since Academia Sinica will have the IP of the ideas, what does it mean for us as participants to have the moral rights for these ideas?
The moral rights are basically all other rights that would come with any sort of contractual engagement. So it's moral rights are basically just protecting your reputation and your identity, all that sort of stuff. It's basically the stuff beyond IP rights.
So, JC, if I may, let me just expand on that a little bit. So if the team was to create the IP, they're like the inventors. In your mind, wouldn't they also still have inventor rights, Mark?
My understanding is that the IP would rest with Academia Sinica, but that the students can still work with us on creating the business. I don't know that they would own the IP for the idea.
Yeah, I guess I make a distinction between an inventor and ownership. So you can be an inventor of a particular IP, and you wouldn't necessarily be the owner because you have to apply for it and blah blah blah. Okay,
right?
The specific IP, but if they're if the team is actually inventors for this, okay. So let me ask it in a question then: as inventors of the IP that the team puts together, what rights do they have that they could potentially have access to some of their creations and their inventions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to refine my understanding of this too. Maybe I can check with our own IP team to understand exactly how this would work. Let's say a team successfully develops a business in partnership with Academia Sinica. How do we take that forward from a IP ownership versus business ownership perspective? I mean, I think the hope from the Academia Sinica side is that we would participate in building out these plans. But it could get a little bit murky down the road, right? As businesses take off, as we saw with like ChatGPT, obviously, things change over time in terms of understanding of the mission. Maybe let me take that as a takeaway for next time, as a question to try to refine in terms of like, and also JC, I'll come back to you with a clear explanation on moral rights, exactly what they are.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think there are probably clarifications that that the participants are going to have on that. It'd be good to make that very crystal clear. And I appreciate that you say that up front, so there's that there's clarity and the ability to make sure that everyone understands what that means.
Yeah. No, we'll get a slide for next time going that spells out the IP rights and the trajectory, let's say over the course of that slide that I showed, where we go from idea to a funded business, and what that would mean for the students down the road, and also just clarify what their moral rights are.
Yeah, I want to just like give a shout out. Thank you for that question, JC.
Yeah. Anybody else have questions or suggestions? We're happy to work on these over the coming week and circle back.
Well, it's our very first time, right? And we are grateful for all the ideas and questions, so that we can really learn and make it very solid.
Okay, great.
Mark, if I may
Sure.
add some. So we mentioned that if student wants to meet a specific technology research team, we can arrange. So if you can sort of select the interest earlier, and we can make arrangement earlier to you. So because obviously we still need to sort of pin down the PI and the team to ask them to present. So if anyone sort of thinking maybe you want to talk to the Method and Powers team first, then we can manage it first. Okay.
Thanks, Sherry. And I'm just going to put the list of technologies on the screen again. And like I said, we will provide more detail, but roughly, if people have a sense of like where they might be interested, we can get these meetings going for you.
It might be helpful, Mark, to give the context, which is that Academia Sinica has been working on the development of these technologies for a number of years.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Let me give a bit of background, and oops, let me go back here. So basically, the genesis of this whole program is that our president of Academia Sinica worked with Arun Majumdar, the dean of the Doerr School of Sustainability, probably about 15 years ago, when Dean Majumdar created ARPA-E in the United States, which is the Advanced Energy Research Program. And basically, when our president Liao was invited to come back to Taiwan to become the head of Academia Sinica, he basically wanted to replicate the ARPA-E model. So 4 years ago, he launched a very exhaustive process to have experts from all around Taiwan work on an analysis of what are the technologies above and beyond existing clean energy technologies like wind and solar and hydro that Taiwan could possibly develop that will make a dent. I mean, the challenge with Taiwan is that it's like 95% fossil fuel energy at the moment. And so they were looking at what could we research. These are sort of like above and beyond everyday technologies. This would require some heavy lifting, some investment, and some lab time to develop and essentially create breakthrough energy technologies that are relevant specifically to Taiwan. And so they came up with a recommendation for these technologies. And then that later was translated. First of all, they created a white paper, which is about 300 or 400 pages long, with a very detailed analysis of the technology options that Taiwan has. And then that white paper was accepted by the government and then funded to create this multi-threaded research program. So our researchers are basically working in 12 or 13 different teams around Taiwan on developing these breakthrough technologies. And now they've been doing that for 2 or 3 years. And now we're at the point where these technologies are getting close enough that we want to bring them out of the lab and start making them real. And that's where we're bringing you guys in. So this is very much like ARPA-E, but for Taiwan. And I don't know if you guys know the background on ARPA-E, but the idea is really to create a breakthrough energy research program and then not just leave it in academia, but as quickly as possible translate it into real technology on the ground. And the big opportunity in Taiwan is the electric grid. So half of energy usage in Taiwan is really just to use electricity. And that's far more than in the US or in other countries, because transportation and buildings is a much lower footprint here because we don't use fuel oil for heat, and we're on a small island, so people don't drive as far as as in the US. So the focus really is on decarbonizing the electric grid. And then the expectation is, as we do that, more and more of the economy will actually be electrified. We'll have more electric vehicles, etc. And then if we can decarbonize the grid, that'll make a meaningful dent in our emissions. And the hope is these technologies can also be used around the world as well. So even if you're working with Taiwan today on all these technologies, there are applications around the world that could also be useful as well. Like geothermal obviously is a technology that's being developed very rapidly in the US as well, and could have a lot of potential anywhere. And similar for the other technologies. So Jimmy, thanks for that question. But and we will provide a bit more context on Taiwan's energy mix on next week's call. But this is really the background of the like how we got to today's competition.
Yeah, Naomi.
So to my understanding, we're allowed to talk to the researchers to kind of scope out like how they're approaching their research and how successful they're going to be, so we can make a better business proposal. And I'm wondering, to what extent is it possible to talk to, or at least get some understanding of how the success in their business, in their research has been, so we can say, hey, we want to pursue this technology specifically because look, the researchers here already have such a big advancement that will be economically super feasible in the market.
Right. Okay. Sherry, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I think I assume we probably will arrange an hour of the also an online meeting with the research team. So if you can sort of prepare the question beforehand, we can sort of hand to the team so they can answer whatever you want, and they will disclose whatever they can to you, and it will be probably make the process more effective. So I assume it's an opportunity you can sort of talk to the team, and we cannot decide like to what extent can you approach. If you want to know more, and I think you can prepare the question first, and we present the question to them. They will prepare the answer, and probably can help you guys more, because the idea will be help you to understand them, and then so you can prepare the business plan more directly fitting their needs. Yeah.
Yeah, so all these teams have made a lot of progress in the past couple of years, but they're all still involved in a massive heavy lift to get these technologies off the ground. So for every conversation, I think it'll be an iterative process to figure out what are the specific opportunities to help them develop in the commercial space. But yeah, like Sherry said, if you guys can get some questions, just like you asked Naomi, to us ahead of time, they will put some thought behind it and give you some good context for where to target. All right. Any other questions? Let me ask it. Is there anything else we can do to get the word out for these phone calls? Is there a way we can disseminate the invite around, or do you think that's people are aware, or what do you recommend? You guys have forwarded our materials pretty much around, right? So okay, should be good.
Oh, Jimmy, and I want to hear your take on this. So I'm thinking about, these ecopreneurship classes like Stanford Climate Ventures or ecopreneurship. I think in the next week, I want to just go to, because I know the professors, and just go in and say, hey, for the beginning of the class, just announce, hey, there's an opportunity to do this. And so that's probably the most efficient way of doing it.
I think that's a genius idea, Howard. I forwarded on to some of the leaders, but I really think that the students coming up and making that, because oftentimes it will involve a question and answer. You present it and they have some questions, and so that helps it move along much faster. So presenting it to some of the classes that you're taking, I think, is genius. So yeah, absolutely, I would proceed with that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Howard, and Naomi, for all the evangelizing you guys have done on our behalf.
Mark will take you out to lunch next time they're visiting.
Absolutely. Well, we will be there in April. That's what I'm hearing. So lunch is on us if you're not too busy with finals. But really appreciate all your support so far. Cool. Well, if we don't have more questions, feel free to reach out to me directly for any additional info that you're not getting, and I will share that with you. It can also be about the technologies or just getting into the weeds a bit more. Feel free to share my contact info with your colleagues, and I'm happy to serve as in the next couple of weeks, just as a resource for you guys. And otherwise, look forward to seeing you guys next week. Really, really appreciate it.
And there'll be another info session in a week at this same time, right?
Right. So we're basically, next week, we're going to cover some of the analysis from that white paper. So Taiwan's energy mix, and then how we came up with the research program and specifically how we got to the technologies that we're working on. So that'll be a more detailed sort of presentation about the technologies, and give students a bit more to hang their hat on when it comes to sharpening their ideas.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, and we'll circle back to JC's questions on the IP rights. Beyond that, we will have this call every week for the next 5 weeks. And it can just be like this. It can be like office hours with people if people have questions. Or if there's specific areas people want us to present on, we can use that time half and half to dive into specific areas. So we're just keeping this window open for the next 5 weeks as an additional resource for everybody.
Okay. Well, Mark, just let me say, first of all, thank you very much. I think this is fantastic. It's great to see that we went from idea to actually implementation in a very, very rapid time.
Yeah.
A couple of months. And I'm excited that we're piloting this in a way which is really a real life opportunity from the standpoint of you're interested in sustainability, you're interested in entrepreneurship, you're interested in making an impact, where they really want to adopt this, right? There's real desire and urgency to actually scale this and bring it to fruition in adoption in industry. I think it's a unique opportunity. So.
Yeah, it's amazing, Jimmy, how this has come about. I'm really excited about it. I'm proud to be part of it. And I was telling my sister about it over the holidays, and she's very critical of everything I do, but she said, that's actually a good idea. I'm like, okay, thank you. So yeah, I'm very proud to be part of this. And I think the students will bring a tremendous amount of insight and fresh ideas to the challenge. So we're very excited about that. So thank you, everybody. Send me your questions in the meantime, and we will regroup in a week with a more detailed presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, Mark and Sherry, can you stay on?
Sure.
I have a couple of people I want to catch you up with you on. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Thanks,
you, guys.
Everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy.
See you next week.